Hello and welcome to Talk from Superheroes. Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Ivany.
And I'm Diana McCullum.
And you're listening to Talk from Superheroes, where Diana's voice has always been like that, and every week we discuss a piece of heroic television or film.
Don't even worry about it. And honestly, it sounded so much better right before I said my name. I think it sounds better even right now. Really messed up the name.
Yeah. Well, you know.
What do we? I won't say my name again.
Let's get the flubs out of the way. You know what I mean? Yeah, we get the flubs out of the way off the top. She's doing fine, everyone.
Oh, I'm doing fine, but maybe it's an episode of Flubs. These are the mystery men that we will be speaking of today.
Yeah. They're the B team.
Yeah.
You know, they're hanging on.
They're not crushing it.
No, they're hanging on. So we're talking about 1999's Mystery Men today on the podcast. We felt like diving back. Next week we're going to be covering the new release of Thunderbolts, and this is just kind of like a fun, a similar theme of some ragtag misfits joined together for a team. So we're like, well, let's dive back to the last millennium.
Yeah, the last time we saw a ragtag group of misfits save the world.
Yes.
I mean, it's happened since, but this is the only one we haven't covered before.
So
enjoy this episode about Mystery Men.
So don't you come at us.
We'll have a lot of comparisons after we see Thunderbolts to these two movies, I'm sure.
I'm sure they're
similar
films.
Same level.
I'm sure.
Some people have powers, some people don't. Actually, that's genuinely true.
Genuinely true.
Genuinely true on that one.
Well, so we're talking about Mystery Men today on the podcast, building up the Thunderbolts, and why delay? You know what I mean?
Let's just get right into the mystery.
Let's save your voice and get right into the mystery. Let's talk all about these mysterious men.
I'm fine.
They're just mysterious men.
They're just mysterious men, Liz.
That's all they are. It is
one woman.
And one woman.
Rude name.
Mysterious people. Yeah. Had you seen this before?
I had seen this before.
Okay.
I remembered certain parts with incredible clarity.
Whoa.
And I had forgotten other parts completely.
Interesting.
So that's just how memory works.
I'd actually never seen this before.
Oh, I kind of got that impression during, spoilers for Mystery Men, when Captain Amazing got vaporized and you were like, whoa! I'm like, if you've seen this movie before, you remember that Captain Amazing got vaporized.
And it's not even so much that they vaporize him, it's that they do it in a pretty gnarly way. Like the visual effects are pretty, like they get into the muck on that one.
Yeah, you see his insides for too long.
Yeah, they make him a real nasty boy.
It feels like when Magneto pulls the bones out of Wolverine, like that kind of visceral death.
Yeah. They made a Monster Factory boy on that one. Mm-hmm. So it was that one hit. But yeah, my first time seeing it, this was something that around the time it came out, it had that kind of, everyone was like, this isn't it. And so I just never bothered with it, and I think I saw a scene or two on cable and then never really gave it a chance. So this was my first go.
Okay, because I'd seen it before, and I think because I watched everything with superheroes, I was like, these are technically superheroes. I'm going to watch it. And I only kind of liked it, and I'm like, I bet if I was an adult, I'd think this was great. I thought it was over my head, perhaps. I gave it the benefit of the doubt.
I see. Yeah. I do feel like this was... even not to say who the humor is or is not for, it was definitely marketed toward MTV generation, our older siblings. We were, I think, slightly below the target demo for this movie. Is what I felt at the time this came out. I felt this was marketed to my older brother, and it was not marketed to me.
That seems wrong, though, because there's no hotties of either gender. There's no the young people are going to come for this actor. And
I feel like that's why it wasn't gauged towards us.
Oh, but even I would see we were adults though, mid-20s to 30s.
No, because that was that's why I mean
that's
it was marketed
crowd.
Towards the MTV grunge generation, the mumblecore independent movie, the the Kevin Smith generation of no one should be hot. We're all fucking grimy out here. where it's like we were like 14 and 15 at the time, so we were looking for someone. You were looking for a cute boy. I'm looking for a young hottie, and like it's grunge MTV generation who are like, no, I want to see Janine Garofalo is the hottest woman in a like that. That was who I think it was marketed towards.
See, this also confuses me about you because I know you love Janine Garofalo.
I do love me.
So are you the MTV generation? No, you just love Janine Garofalo.
Well, like to sidestep from the movie for a moment, because we haven't even given whether or not we like it.
We haven't, but I can't wait to hear your sidestep.
Is that like I am what is technically an elder millennial.
Oh, really specific.
Yeah. We are millennial. We're both elder millennials.
I knew that.
We're on the late millennial side. We're old millennials. But I do in many ways feel like a Gen Xer in some degrees because I am an elder millennial who grew up without a ton of money. So all of my music was hand-me-down cassettes from my older brother. All of my clothes was Nirvana-era grunge clothing hand-me-downs from my brother. So it's like my style, my musical taste, so like the cassettes, the VHSs, the CDs, everything that I had was a hand-me-down from my older brother who is Gen X. So even though I'm an elder millennial, I feel very Gen X because that was the culture I consumed via hand-me-downs, where like I'm reading skateboard thrasher magazines after my brother discarded them. I'm using a Walkman when everyone had a Discman. Like, so I feel maybe one generation older than what my age actually is, just kind of due to the economics of growing up without enough money to have the new thing for everyone in the family.
Okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. I think, well, I similarly grew up poor, but I think I managed to not do that through the use of the library, I guess. Like I would get comics from the library. I would get like things I actually wanted to read out of the library. So like my sisters and I don't have a lot in common, so I didn't get hand-me-downs from them too much.
Yeah.
So I didn't inherit a lot from my older sisters, even though I didn't have money to buy things.
And as we've discussed, that makes perfect sense. You would go to libraries or swap meets or somewhere where you could find cheap books and DVDs and things like that. Because our experiences of low income were very different. Where you and your family leaned into it and worked with the system. Where me and my family was very hide your shame, don't tell anyone, put on airs and look like you have money. So it was very it was a little bit of a different environment, I think, for how we dealt with low income.
No, I can see that. I can see that making different versions of us.
Yeah.
Look at us coming together.
Yeah, look at us. So
Did we like Mystery Men?
But did we like, Diana, did you like Mystery Men?
I liked it fine. I think this is going to be the third movie I've ever described as pleasant. It's like a little bit boring in the middle, maybe, but for the most part, it's like there's not very many big laughs, but there's so many characters, there's so many ideas, there's so many big sets that pretty much at all points I'm enjoying looking at these pictures that are moving, and some of these people are funny and some of the lines are okay, and there's just enough happening that I'm having a pleasant time. I'm not having a good time, not having a bad time. I'm having a pleasant time with this comedy superhero movie. There's not really action to be had. I do think the finale actually wraps up surprisingly well with everyone getting like a moment and a little like beat of their arcs wrapping up, which is actually pretty impressive for a movie that I think doesn't really know how to coalesce those things. But at the very end, it's like, oh, everyone really did get a moment or a beat. So it works out nicely. It kind of knows what it is. It actually doesn't know what it is tonal wise. It is very at odds with itself, and I think that's its biggest problem. And I think if it could figure out its tone, it would actually be really great because it seemed to have a huge budget and has a huge cast of characters. So it's weird that it's so mid. So I would describe it as mid to pleasant. Andrew, did you enjoy Mystery Men?
I think it's very mid to pleasant. I think that's a great way of describing it. I didn't like it. It's a failure of potential, for sure.
Oh my God, the potential, though. That's upsetting.
Yeah, the cast is huge. The premise is only pleasant. I'm not going to say that to be like, oh my God, like what? This idea is phenomenal. But I'm like, the talent you have behind this idea is phenomenal. And no one was on the same page. It has huge potential. And that's one of its biggest disappointments. And the rest of it is just kind of fine. I agree there's no big laughs. There's a couple chuckles, but no one's on the same page for what type of humor this is. So, which keeps it consistently pleasant, but no comedy builds on top of one another. Every comedic line is starting from absolute scratch with every new line read. So it's just pleasant, if a little boring in the middle. So yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. It's pleasant to mid and poorly executed, but with a lot of potential.
Yeah, the tone thing is crazy because, yeah, some of this movie feels like it wants to be kick-ass, and then a lot of the time it feels like it wants to be Austin Powers, and I really don't even know which way it should have leaned, but it didn't lean either way, and I don't think either of those movies even was out yet when this movie came out, but those are the tones that you can feel in it, of just like superhero over-the-top comedy stuff. But they don't mesh. It feels like the villain and Captain Amazing are doing Austin Powers when it's just them. Casanova Frankenstein is the villain. Oh my
Richard
God,
Madden
what a great
as
name.
Casanova Frankenstein. Yeah.
They're doing like Austin Powers level over the top parody satire. But then when we meet all the heroes who we're following, they're pretty grounded. Like there's nothing, even their powers are very grounded. Even their use of their powers is quite grounded. Their layers, their costumes, like the way they speak, like, because Captain Amazing and Casanova Frankenstein are so dramatic and they're so over the top. And then these guys are a totally different tone, but they're also not such a different tone that you're like, this is purposeful and it's saying something about the world they live in.
Yeah.
Because then these three regular people recruit people who actually do have powers.
Yes, they do.
Everyone they recruit has actual powers. So I'm like, I don't really know what this movie's even trying to say about how to be a hero.
Yeah, it almost seems like it's trying to have something to say about hero culture before hero culture peaked.
Like at this point, 99, it was just the Batmans.
Yeah.
And I think Superman Returns? No, it wasn't out yet.
Oh, okay. No, that wasn't out yet. Yeah. No.
It's
It
just
was
like
Batman Forever
Batman
had been
Forever.
out. Yeah. So it feels like there are Batman 66, Batman Forever influences here to be like, what if it was camp? But I do think that like there are characters like Ben Stiller is playing it like a grungy independent movie that has something to say about superhero culture. I think he's playing it as to, like, you bring up like Kick-Ass as a more kind of modern comparison to it, like Kick-Ass, Super, was it Chronicle or
Chronicle was the found footage one.
yeah. Chronicle, where it's like he's playing it as this like grimy youth counterculture to be like, isn't it fucked up what superhero society makes us feel like we need to do and put on airs? And I'm like, I actually don't feel any of that at all, and the script doesn't have it.
No, and it feels like you just want to be one to be famous because you're trying to get press and...
Yeah, this doesn't quite work at all, so I don't know what this statement is. But yeah, no one's doing the same sense of humor.
No one's doing the same sense of humor, and since we're on Ben Stiller, I think he has the messiest character in this movie.
Yes.
Mostly just because, like, character arc wise, it doesn't work. Even just in terms of your superhero gimmick, I'm like, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that's so messy that I just never want to get behind him. Like, he's Mr. Furious, but like his costume's super boring. This whole thing about how he's like angry, but he's not, I guess. It just, none of it lands.
No.
And it's so surprising because this was like Ben Stiller's heyday. Not that he sucks now. He's making Severance. He's doing great work.
Yeah.
But this feels like it was like peak Ben Stiller time. And he just nothing there.
He doesn't commit, which is, I think, the real problem with his portrayal of this character. He's been funnier and he's been more sincere, and he feels very self-conscious here. He feels very self-conscious about playing the joke. So, like, the joke is that he's like, ooh, I'm hulking out. But his heart isn't quite in it, and he doesn't believe it. And then, like, he's not a good fighter, and he's not even really that angry. He tries to scare people out of confrontation, but he's playing D&D where he always fails his intimidation rolls is kind of his character. But he never commits to getting mad. Like,
Ben Stiller, not the character.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller never like hulks.
Yeah, Ben Stiller's like, you don't want me mad. Oh no, you called me on it. And it's like, no, man, you've got to go. You've got to, like, you have to believe that if you're mad, that you are about to fuck up this room. And then it's funny that you can't and don't. But he never, he doesn't commit to being angry or even playing angry in any way.
No, I think the closest he comes is when he's supposed to be apologizing to William H. Macy, and he can't get the apology out, and he's like, his veins are actually popping a bit, and like I feel like that is just him really liking William H. Macy and being like, I'll commit this one scene.
Yes.
I'll actually try.
And William H. Macy does a good job of playing off of him in that scene as well, just to be like, do you want to just come? Would that help solve this whole thing?
What a lovely presence he is. He's one of the pleasant parts of this movie because he never really is trying to have a lot of laughs.
Yeah.
He really is just like a nice, calming, like leader type who's like, oh, this feels safe.
Yeah.
I feel very safe with you, William H. Macy.
Yeah, he's one of these, like, you're comedically talented by playing it flat. Like, he knows how to play the straight character in something.
Yeah, he sees what's going on around him, and he's like, I am the straight man in this giant mystery men troupe of craziness.
Yes.
And I'm going to, like, keep it flat, and it's going to work great, and you're going to have a safe port in every scene that you can dock your boat at.
I think the two safe ports in this and the ones who are playing it right and everyone else should have matched their tempo, it is William H. Macy and Greg Kinnear. I think Greg Kinnear as Captain Amazing, I'm like, oh, you get it. You're actually playing this like an actor of the like, oh, you're welcome, citizens, and getting in the car and being like, you lost me the Pepsi deal? Like, he's playing two sides of a character.
He's falling into superhero tropes. He understands, like, the canons.
Yeah.
Like, to the point where you'd think more superhero movies would have been out by now.
Yes.
Yeah, he's really doing an elevated job at this.
Yeah, he's elevating it, but he's still playing it as an actor. He's letting the comedy kind of come out naturally from the writing to be like, well, it's a superhero who's mad about a Pepsi scholarship or Pepsi sponsorship. That's funny. I'm just going to say it and play it like an actor. And it makes it funny. And then I feel like everyone else in the cast who are all comedians try to join William H. Macy and Greg Kinnear on their level. And I'm like, you fucking idiots. You should have all been comedians. And then William H. Macy and Greg Kinnear are the ones that contrast the insane things all of you are doing. You shouldn't be trying to meet actors at acting. You should be trying to be comedians.
Yeah, because usually actors, when they have scenes with comedians, are like, oh, I'm going to be outshone by the comedians.
Yeah.
But in this movie, yeah, the comedians were outshone by the actors. Except I will say, I agree that those two actors got the tone right. I do think Janeane Garofalo is easily the funniest part of this movie.
Yes. Janeane Garofalo is a treasure.
Yeah, she's absolutely, and I don't just say that because you love her. Like, I genuinely, the second she showed up, I'm like, these jokes hit so much harder. Her delivery is, like, so good. It's not fitting this, like, over-the-top superhero tone that I think the movie needs, but it's just genuinely funny. Like, my father died falling down an elevator shaft onto bullets, and she fucking nails the delivery of that.
Yeah. And she plays this dark humor very well. Like, she's perfectly cast for this character where it works in any world, in any realm that is. Janeane Garofalo has a bowling ball with her father's skull in it. Like, that is who you cast. That's perfect. That's who that person is.
Yeah, she's 1999's Aubrey Plaza.
You're fucking right.
I'm fucking right.
You're fucking right.
I know how to generationally cast.
Mm-hmm. You're goddamn right. Yeah, if this was today, because I was even thinking that. I'm like, if this was today, her being Aubrey Plaza is wonderful. I'm not saying this is the height of comedy, but I think this is what the script is going for, is that Ben Stiller's character today is Kevin Hart.
Ooh.
Is the loudest one in the room that everyone is running out of patience for.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I think Ben Stiller's character is Kevin Hart. And I think that, like, I think, like, Blue Raja is, I don't know, like a Jack Black type as well, like big body, like that's who these type of characters are going
Jumanji.
for. And that's fine. Just fucking make Jumanji.
Jumanji works for a reason. There's two. Where's the third Jumanji, by the way?
Yeah, what happened there?
First two were great.
Get that shit together.
I liked Jumanji a lot.
But yeah, big. I agree. Big and body, I think, is what they need, with the exception of Janeane Garofalo or Aubrey Plaza if they were making it today. Yeah.
But they the tone, but like the Greg Kinnear is like God, it's so sad that he dies halfway through because like his energy is so great in every scene he's in. Yeah, like the scene where they kill him is one of the best scenes in the movie by far. Just this crazy back and forth, this banter of like toggling the switches. Everyone's actually nailing some comedy. There's tension. It's very shocking when he's super killed.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the perfect character. He should be in the whole of this movie to play off of, and in fact, that's why I feel like the energy kind of dies once he's kidnapped as well. Where I'm like, oh man, we don't have the other side of this world now.
No, we really don't. And like, it's not the movie where this should matter, but I think Casanova Frankenstein, great name yet again. Says he's going to kill him in like 24 hours or something. They take like a whole week to rescue him.
They take their time.
They try to rescue him once, and then they have tryouts to like make a team, and then they have like training with the Sphinx, and then they attack Casanova Frankenstein in his car. It's been a full week at least.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if Captain Amazing like gets to go to the bathroom or if he's been fed.
Yeah.
I think he's just a regular dude in a cool suit.
Yeah, I don't really know what his power... He does seem to fly.
He does, but he had a jetpack.
Yeah, or like jets in his boots or something. So I don't know. I don't know if he's an Iron Man type, but he also seems to be like super intelligent as well.
He seems super smart, but I couldn't tell if that was just like from superheroing so long. He's seen it all.
Yeah.
Because like Superman's really smart, but we never really think of him that way. But he also would walk in on Lex Luthor and be like,
put that
the
away.
pen down, put that away, put that away. I see X-ray vision.
Get that trash out of here.
Get that garbage out of here.
You get that garbage out of here. Absolutely.
That's what Superman always says to Lex Luthor.
Superman's always talking about it. Now, I do want to talk about, like, to give this movie credit on a couple of things. It looks great.
It looks amazing. Now, I will say the trivia says that they used like Batman Forever sets, which you can see once you know. You're like, oh, all the neon.
Heavily Batman Forever influence.
Everything's super over the top, campy.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
But more evenly lit. Like, it's better lighting on the Batman. And it made me realize that I'm like, these are some Batman Forever sets, but with Batman 66 lighting. Like, more even sitcom lighting, but neon walls on the background. I'm like, this is so much better than like moody, shadowy Batman movie lighting. So it actually made it feel more like camp. It felt more like Batman 66 than Batman Forever did.
Yeah, I can get behind that. But then I was also thinking about like all the other stuff that looks good and seems out of their budget. Like they had multiple CG shots of the cityscape with like blimps and like all this beautiful like whole city's been made digitally in 1999. It looked pretty good. And I was like, did you just take the Batman Forever Gotham and just like render it slightly differently? Like, do you own everything that Batman Forever got to use?
Yeah.
Because even Captain Amazing getting zapped looks like the Riddler zapping at the end of Batman Forever.
Oh, well, kind of. I can see that.
A little bit, not quite, but I'm like, okay, I think you just like borrowed all their stuff.
All their stuff. You owned their digital assets, maybe.
Yeah.
But even in the execution of the digital assets, there's one shot that goes from Captain Amazing in his car, like out the windshield, through the city, under a bridge, like through a chain link fence. They do these like Fincher-esque camera movements in a digital world, and it seems to be compositing real world footage with minis with a digital environment and executing it really well for 1999. Really wildly ambitious things, incredibly well executed for 1999.
It didn't make any sense because, as we said, this movie is mid. I don't know what its budget was, but no one in this movie was like a huge star in 1999. No one in this movie is a huge star today.
Yeah.
It's all just like mid-level comedians who people like, but no one who's like, that's going to be a $20 million movie for them. So everyone's getting like basic script money for this for sure. But yeah, that one shot is insane. It's going like, it's an impossible shot. It's got to be like composite and then mini, but then it goes through the mini. So it has to be CG because it's going through walls.
Yeah. But then later, like the miniature explodes and it's not a digital explosion, which is way tougher to do in 1999. Yeah, it's a miniature model explosion transitioning from a CG shot. It's really, you know what it felt like at a couple moments between like the super hyper detailed Gothic City sets to like the digital environments, the amount of work and care that went into the sets. It felt like the old Super Mario Brothers movie.
Oh, yeah.
Where I'm just like, no one needed to go this fucking hard on the set design, but someone put their whole back into this one.
When you work on a movie, you just don't know if it's going to be good or not. I think,
if you're building sets, you're just like, yeah, I don't know.
This could be the biggest thing.
I'm not the big vision person. I'm the person who is putting their whole everything into this set or this visual effect or whatever it might be.
No, I also wonder if it could be because we looked up this director and all he's ever done is like apparently these really high-end car commercials.
Yeah.
So he's not a comedian. So he's not here for the comedic aspect. Maybe he was like really good at that stuff.
A commercial pedigree or whatever.
Yeah,
but even getting those visuals, I'm like...
In 1999?
I'm like, you should be doing Tim Burton-esque shit. Like the level of like, you don't have the story ambition and you certainly cannot control a cast.
This is a pretty huge cast for your first movie.
I know. But. Yeah, that's one of the big problems, I think, with this movie. But you can execute Burton-esque visuals of a Gothic city skyline with crazy camera work and transitions. It's really impressive.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. So visually, they do some damn good work in this movie. Well, let's take a break in the podcast. We want to thank our sponsor of today's podcast. We want to thank our friends over at the DC Studios Showcase podcast.
Yes.
You might know them, and if not, you might love them.
We're going to tell you about them so you'll love them. The DC Studios Showcase podcast is your inside source for the latest and greatest from DC Studios. It's hosted by nerd commentator Frankie Smith, entertainment journalist Tyler Coates, and comic correspondents Joy Jandro. And on each episode, the team breaks down the latest news, dissects the most recent DC Studios content, and speaks to the most read DC comics. And they've had incredible guests on this show. I've listened to a couple episodes, and everyone is like wildly interesting.
Oh, it's bananas. They've had Lauren LaFranc from The Penguin, Sean Gunn from Creature Commandos, and many other things. Katie Sackhoff from the Watchmen animated movies, and many other things as well.
Everyone listed has done many other things. I love their James Adomian episode. He's Bane on Harley Quinn.
Oh, you love a touch of James Adomian.
Oh, we always love a touch of James Adomian here, but it was just fun hearing him break down like the Bane voice, how it came to be, how it's been playing Bane all these years for so long, and trying to like just make the directors laugh while he's in the booth. It's like incredible insights into everything DC that you're looking for.
And if you're a listener of our podcast, then chances are you are a big media consumer when it comes to comic book based content. You're a fan of television and film. They're going to be talking about that, hyping you up to the new DC Studio stuff, like the Superman movie that you're excited about. So you're going to get a lot of that, but then they're also going to let you know about some of the must-read DC comic books as well. So it might even be a good onboarding for you to get into the comic books if right now you're more of a TV and film type of person.
Yeah, pretty much anything you need DC, they're going to have it for you.
Yeah, so you're going to want to go check out the podcast on the Max YouTube channel and listen to DC Studios Showcase on Max or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes come out every other Friday. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss an episode. That's DC Studios Showcase wherever you get your podcast. And thank you for sponsoring this episode as well.
Thank you so much.
And now back to Mystery Men.
Here's a weird thing that I felt while watching this movie. And there's only 2 examples, so I feel weird saying this. But another thing that was weird about the tone of this movie is that it felt like it was written by someone who didn't respect women, but it was directed by someone who did respect women. So none of these gross women joke landed.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more.
I will tell you more, because there's very little women in this movie, first of all. Jean Garofalo is the only female superhero out of a 7-person team, which I know Avengers also did that, but we've gotten better. But yeah, the only real scenes women have are when they're doing auditions. The only women who audition are both dressed as Wonder Woman, and they start fighting each other. And all the guys watch, it's great. But it's not a sexy fight. They're actually fighting. They're just pulling each other's hair. They don't rip each other's clothes. It's not it's a pillow fight and they're in lingerie. So it feels like the joke when writing the script was probably and these 2 sexy women have a sexy fight. And that's funny or sexy.
2 women are fighting and all the guys watch. And,
wow, wow, wow.
And in reality, they just filmed 2 women in a store-bought Wonder Woman costume who happened to tussle around a little bit.
Yeah. And then later, I think one of the big set piece jokes is that all these women who are in the gang, kind of like the 60s disco gang, they use the shrink ray on them, and the shrink ray shrinks your clothes. And then it's supposed to be like, clearly, I think the joke in the script was going to be that, like, now they're pretty much naked, and we love that. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And instead, it just showed them all on the ground, and, like, Janine Garofalo has to have a line like, they have wedgies now, and just explain what's happened.
Yeah.
And it really felt like the director was like, no, I'm not doing that.
And I like that.
I like it too, but it's just, there's a very weird disconnect here between what the script has and I think what the director wanted to do. And I'm like, I like the director's choices.
Yes.
But like, no, from the 1999 perspective, I'm like, I know what these jokes were supposed to be. These were supposed to be some Austin Powers, Clerks level, like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yes.
Titties.
Yep. Which I think, you could just not do them at all might have been the best option, but yeah, doing them with a like, well, I don't know what to do with this.
Well, this scene's not anything then.
Yeah, and I see what you're saying, and I might want to give him credit if it weren't for the fact that other jokes were delivered with the same lack of enthusiasm. It might just be an inability to commit to a bit all around. I'm not going to say that this director isn't a feminist. I don't have enough information, and I think that the data across the board just says a general lack of understanding what a written joke was intended to be, whether problematic or not.
I like this safe answer. I will accept this.
Okay.
I think that's very fair. We don't have enough data. This man hasn't done enough work.
No, he hasn't done enough work.
No other movies.
He hated this enough that in interviews he said, he was like, I'm going back to commercials. I'm never doing this again.
I'm out. Yeah, it's like if Zack Snyder just made Man of Steel and then cut out.
And then bounced. Yeah, it's a very strange move.
Back to music videos.
But yeah, this person just did not have the personality to rein in this set. You need to have a strong-ass director for an ensemble like this. And someone with a clear vision, and this isn't it.
And this isn't it. I mean, not even so much, and also, like, definitely the ensemble, but even, like we're saying, like, the budget seems big, because even just, like, the guest stars, like, Michael Bay is one of the frat boys.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, well, one of the best action directors ever is just here in the scene, and I'm definitely also a good director.
I'm as good. Don't worry about it. You'll see me again.
I would be so upset if I was directing my first movie and then Michael Bay's like, I'll just be an extra. I'll just stand here.
I'll have a cameo. I don't know if this was a Bay production or what.
Maybe.
Or why he's wandering through. Yeah, because he produced stuff that he didn't direct as well. He'll dabble.
But it's still just like very upsetting.
Yeah.
It's got to be like, oh no.
Yeah, really rough time for this director.
I mean, he got to do one movie.
Yeah, I mean,
most people don't get that.
Sure, he definitely did get to do one more movie than most, but had no success or no clear vision in any way. Why this wasn't directed by a comedian, I do not know. I just do not know.
In the trivia, they said they asked Ben Stiller, and he thought it was too big a production for him. And I wonder if that's also why Stiller is so like not super committed. Like he regretted saying no, and then he was like, "Oh, this director sucks," because Ben Stiller's directed tons of stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know if he had yet.
Yeah, I don't know if he had yet. I think he had episodes of the Ben Stiller Show. I think he had directed television, but I don't know if and maybe some independent stuff, but. Yeah, and maybe, he sees that director show up and he's like, fuck, I could have directed this. This guy doesn't know what jokes are.
He let the imposter syndrome get to him, and then the imposter showed up, and he was like, oh, fuck.
A thing that does happen in the arts to be like, no, I'm not good enough for that. And it's like, you got who? They suck.
Of course I should have directed it. At least there would have been a clear comedic vision.
There absolutely
like there would have been a clear tone of what the comedy was if a comedy director had been doing it.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, like even when you look at stuff like I believe, did he direct Dodgeball? I can't remember if he directed, but that's something that has
some of the big ones. I want to say like Meet the Fockers or Meet the Parents was him.
But I just mainly think of Dodgeball because like I'm thinking of like big bombastic characters with a visual theme and identity with like 1 to 2 grounded people who are dealing with this insane world.
Yes, very similar.
And it feels very similar to what could have been done with a movie like Mystery Men.
Dodgeball would make the most sense because he also was like the side villain. He's not in most scenes.
And he commits to being over the top and huge. And yes, he does it right.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder if Stiller was just like full of regrets. The whole filming process.
Yeah, a little bit of regrets and a little bit of resentment. Who knows? Anyone else on the cast that kind of stands out to you? I'm like, Kel Mitchell is Invisible Boy and Paul Rubens is Spleen. They're both kind of whatevers,
They're just kind of there. Yeah, no
Yeah.
one else really spoke
Wes
to
Studi
me.
as Sphinx is just kind of like, all right.
I'm also here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, did anyone else pop to me? I mean, I liked Shoveler's wife. She's so far down the list. I don't know
Oh,
who
yes,
was,
she is
but
phenomenal.
She gets a tone.
Yes. Yeah. So she is very funny, and also all the home stuff lands as
Yeah,
well.
the weird close-ups of the dog, which is probably the only runner, because it wasn't funny the first time. It was like, was that like a mistake?
Was that intentional?
That
What
weird
was
close-up
that?
of the dog, but then every time we go to his house, there's a weird close-up of the dog, and I'm like, I like this choice at the very least. This is something.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about the weird POV stuff sometimes.
Why did that only happen at his house?
It happens at the restaurant, I think, too. There's one other point when it happens with Ben Stiller as well.
Yeah, there's some shots right down the barrel for Ben Stiller when he's trying to like freak out, I think. But not like dialogue, is there?
I think there's another one where like the rubber gloves are put on Ben Stiller's face or
No,
something.
that was William H. Macy.
Was that H.
That was
Macy?
his wife. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. It's just a strange series of choices. Yeah.
I would accept more strange series of choices.
Yeah.
There was at least something.
Yeah, there is it's so close. With like there's choices that could be made to push it in either direction. As dated as the humor is, like you bring up Austin Powers as like a type of place that this could go, and it's like, does this become a cult classic then? I don't know.
I think it at least would have been a current day hit then.
Yeah.
It would have fit the vibes of the theater at the time.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then I think one other thing that happens in this movie that I think superheroes don't do enough, to be totally honest, changing your accent when you're in your costume.
Oh yeah, Hank Azaria kind of like playing around with him doing his voices. Yeah.
Yeah, I think more superheroes need to do this. I want to find out that Gambit sounds like Chris Evans or something. Just a straight Boston.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good way to hide who you are.
Yeah,
Better than glasses.
It's a good way to hide who you are. It's kind of a fun way to play with that character as well. Like Hank Azaria is someone who largely does voice work, but does a decent job here of Blue Raja. I feel like there could have been better use of the joke of like, I kind of like him kind of explaining the background and be like, well, it was occupied by Britain at the time. You see, so it is historically him trying to explain why he's historically accurate. I think is very funny, and they don't have the rhythm of jokes. They don't three-peat it. They don't know where to go with it. But it's fun that he changes accent and that he switches character. I like his mom getting on board.
He's doing his best, but yeah, it's another character who's just too messy. Yeah, it's not funny enough that his character is complicated and doesn't make any sense. They don't really find the humor of that joke idea.
Yeah.
Of that he doesn't wear blue and that it's too historically intricate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like there's forks involved somehow.
And there's forks involved, but he also doesn't like stabbing people. He doesn't like using the knives. But they don't commit to him being a pacifist either as well. Like he will stab people
With forks?
a little.
That's 4 tiny knives.
And that's still being stabbed, but he won't use a knife. But he also does carry spoons, which you don't need to do because yeah.
Yeah. So, but I didn't really like the mom getting on board. I felt like she was like attracted to him.
It did read as a little horny,
It was
didn't
weird.
it?
I didn't like it at all. It was very uncomfortable. Yeah, I don't know what she was going for. I hope it wasn't attracted to my son right now.
Yeah, you hope it wasn't horny.
Because it didn't read as pride.
Yeah, it did read a little as horny, didn't it?
Yeah, like she was just always really wanted a British accented man.
Yeah, it's strange.
I didn't like it.
No, I didn't like it either. Yeah.
It's a nice idea. Like if played differently, it's like, oh, that is nice that his mom got on board and like she accepted him. But like in act and not attracted to him in a way that I'm like, that's what the scene is about, and that's why the comedy they're going for. Just in a kind of like, there's something just slightly off.
And kind of a like, you didn't perform it quite right. You played it. You went for pride, but it came out as horny. Like it was an accident. What happened? Yeah, because there were a couple jokes in that scene that works of her being like, I was going to give this to you when you got married, but looks like we'll be waiting a while on that. And I'm like,
Absolutely
that's
fair.
A classic joke, good delivery, things like that. Yeah, a couple of good chuckles in this movie. Yeah.
And he'd probably. I also imagine he was already playing Apu, which is.
Oh yeah. There
could have been a joke there. I don't think people in 1999 really knew who played any of the Simpsons characters by face actor.
Ooh, interesting.
Not in 1999.
I mean, I definitely knew that he was the Simpsons guy, but
Really?
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think I knew because I even saw this movie and I didn't know he was any of the characters for years.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I wonder why I knew, but I don't know. I was
You know stuff. You're cool.
I was a comedy weirdo. I was a comedy and voiceover weirdo. I might have saw it on like a 3 a.m. interview on the original Conan O'Brien show. It was 3 a.m. Newfoundland time because they didn't time shift it yet. I don't know.
Cool. Babe, that's so cool.
It is
was so
not.
hard to find that information when we were young and you're in Newfoundland and no one's helping you. I think you're super cool. We're on a nerdy podcast for our full-time jobs now.
Yeah.
You did just fine, babe.
Yeah, now it's cool, but
Well, then it all worked out.
Pre-internet on Newfoundland time, watching.
You're like Hank Azaria's in The Simpsons.
Oh, Hank Azaria's on Conan tonight. I wonder if next week they'll have Dan Castanella. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I definitely didn't know because now I remember who any of the voice actors were because Dan Castellaneta.
I always forget the exact phonetic of the.
He guest starred on Stargate SG-1 in like season 4. And there's a bunch of Simpsons jokes in that episode, and I never understood why for years and years.
Interesting.
And then I found out he plays Homer, and I was like, oh, it was too many Simpsons jokes still.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I'll have to check out this Stargate SG-1 episode.
Oh, yay, Stargate!
Stargate, they're back, baby.
What a win for me! I love watching Stargate.
Well, you've gotten lucky on this one.
I've done very well.
I'm feeling pretty tapped out on Mystery Man. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty tapped out. Yeah, I don't know if there's that much more to say. It's also like, even though it's 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Why is it 2 hours long?
I don't know why it's 2 hours long.
And it doesn't even like feel crazy long, but it's also like 1999 comedy and and like huge budget for all this shit. You should be 95 minutes.
Yeah. And it doesn't not a lot happens.
Not a lot
Captain
happens.
Amazing, the antagonists never leave one location.
They're at the lair the whole movie.
And the whole movie, all of our heroes know that where the lair is and how to approach it. It is literally just like a movie of they walk up to this mansion, they get turned away, they think about going up again, they do, it doesn't work out, they go away, they come back up again, and this time is when the stuff happens. That's not 2 hours of thinking about knocking on the same door a third time. There's not enough forward movement for this to be a 2-hour movie.
When you describe it that way, though, it actually sounds funny.
It's
the fact that we keep knocking and we just can't get in.
At a higher speed,
yes.
It is fun.
It's like Bugs Bunny-esque funny.
Yeah, hey, can I get in there? Okay, what if I tried this? Hey, can I get in there? Tossed. Okay, what if I tried it? Didn't work. Okay, one more.
Oh, fuck yeah.
If you go at speed, that's comedy.
No, that would really land.
Yeah, thank you.
That'd be good.
Well, let's go into the close. Let's ask the final question of what would you change. So now that we've discussed everything we've discussed about this movie, what would you change about it if you could change anything? Before we do ask that final question, we will remind you, as we do every week, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Addict, or wherever you get your podcasts. It helps us move up the charts, find new listeners, and it just means a lot to us. And as well, if you do want to support the podcast monetarily, you can do that over on our Patreon page at patreon.com/FromSuperheroes. Lots of cool bonuses over there. You can get our webcomic early. You can get these episodes early and ad-free. You can get exclusive monthly episodes for our hero level patrons, which is incredible.
Oh my god, the things just keep piling on.
Oh, goo.
Whoa. This month on the exclusive episode, we covered Hitman. You guys voted for it. Thank you. It was a way better movie than we expected. You're very good to us.
Yeah, it was at least fine.
Oh yeah, we expected bad.
Yeah.
And it was fine.
Yeah, and we learned the difference between smoldering and brooding.
We did learn the difference between smoldering and brooding.
Yeah,
so
we created the difference, but we also learned it.
If you want to know the difference, you're going to have to check out our Patreon episode on Hitman. And you can get access to, and as soon as you sign up, you get access to all the previous episodes as well. There's so many more episodes of Talk from Superheroes.
Just a bunch. And you get all of the other benefits as well if you sign up at the hero level. Or you can also buy individual episodes of the Patreon exclusive for $5 an episode. Check out everything over at our Patreon page, patreon.com/FromSuperheroes. That is patreon.com/FromSuperheroes. And now let's go in for the close. Let's ask the final question. Now that we've discussed everything about this movie, what would you change about this if you could change anything? Diana, what would you change?
Two big changes. It decides on a tone. I'm going to say the Austin Powers tone. I think it fits the time of when the movie was made. It's got all the sets, all the campiness that you need. And I think like that's the tone that Greg Kinnear and Jeffrey Rush are doing in their scenes alone as Captain Amazing and Casanova Frankenstein. So I think the whole movie could benefit from a singular tone. My other big change is I'm just going to make it shorter, and this is how we're going to do it. Spleen and Invisible Boy are at the tryouts. They don't have separate scenes where we meet them. Everyone we add is at the tryouts. So Janine Garofalo, Invisible Boy, Spleen, all at the tryouts. Roy doesn't leave twice. That's Ben Stiller. So Ben Stiller leaves while they're getting trained by the Sphinx, and then he wants to leave again when his girlfriend tells him to not be mad anymore. And it's just really annoying how this guy just never wants to be there. So he only leaves the first time. He doesn't leave the second time. And then his end, instead of finding his fury or whatever, he just actually lifts a bus. Because he said he could lift a bus, and he never did.
Yeah.
So he lifts a bus off his girlfriend or something. And those are going to be... Oh, and also we're going to cut that weird raccoon scene, or weird skunk scene. That wasn't anything. And it didn't go on too long, but the fact that it existed was too long. Get the fuck out of here, skunk scene. What was any of this?
Yeah, when the skunk humps Spleen.
You know what? Now, thinking back, I can see what you're saying about how the director didn't commit to anything. Because no one felt like they wanted this to happen in the scene.
Yeah.
No one was like, this is so funny.
Yeah.
On set, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Except maybe the guy who wrote it. So those are my changes. Pick a tone, make it shorter. Andrew, what would you change?
I love that. I think pick a tone, make it shorter kind of works with my two big one is a different director. Ben Stiller needs to direct this. You need someone who understands comedy and who can get everyone on the same goddamn page. At the very minimum, someone else. So you need a director who can manage all of these people and who understands comedy. That is my big one. And my third one is that I actually think that the team needs the initial team when we start this movie, it is Furious, Shoveler, and Blue Raja. Blue Raja's out. This needs to be a story about two friends who start a team together, and that's the emotional core of this story. It is Furious and Shoveler, it is Roy and Shoveler having auditions because they want to start a team, and then Roy eventually walks away. Shoveler's wife is getting mad at him for what's going on, and that's the crisis they both have. Roy then comes back and learns to be I'm going to admit that I'm sorry and that I need help. And Shoveler's like, but I can't. I don't need to do this. And it's I believe in you. You believe in me. We're back in. We're leading the team. I think we need to get rid of the Sphinx and Blue Raja. And they can be funny characters who are part of the team. But the fact that there are 4 co-leads of this team makes it so clouded that Blue Raja needs this connective story, that the Sphinx comes in as this false leader but isn't really trying to cause problems. No, it's a movie about 2 guys who are friends, who have different perspectives on what being a hero means, one of which is pretending to be mad and lying about his abilities. The other one sincerely has abilities but has other commitments. And what do those 2 friends make as a team? And that's the story.
Babe, you had me at it's about 2 friends.
It's about 2 friends.
I love things about friends.
Who make a team. Then the team gets to be fun characters.
They get to be friends.
Big bombastic characters then. That is it. Blue Raja, he's just a dude who throws utensils. That's funny. That's funny.
That's comedy.
Yeah, I have too many candles lit at my mom's house. Isn't funny. Throwing utensils is funny. Then the utensils should get more absurd. Well, I'm talking barbecue tongs. I'm talking make it sillier and big. But if he doesn't need to be a 3-dimensional character, you can be funny then with him. So that they need that.
Yeah, there's a lot of tiny forks.
A lot of tiny forks, serving ones that you don't even know what they are. There's comedy to be had there. But yeah, about 2 friends. It's about 2 friends and a stronger director.
I'll never turn away 2 friends or a stronger director, of course. Love it. We've done it.
It's all big, bombastic, beautiful stuff. Thank you very much for listening to our episode on Mystery Men. We've done it again. Next week, we will be back and we'll be talking about Thunderbolts.
Oh, my boy Bucky, he's back. I'm cured.
Asterix.
Asterix.
Thunderbolts. Asterix.
What
What's
does
the
it
Asterix
mean?
about?
Andrew's really upset about the Asterix, you guys.
I'm not upset. I'm excited. I'm worked up.
I like that.
I'm worked up. I could be upset. We'll see what the Asterix is about.
They found a new way to make us talk about a title. We talk about titles a lot. That's a new way.
I'm excitedly curious what that Asterix is about. I mean, we have our theories, but we'll talk about that next week on the pod. In the meantime, if y'all want to get a hold of us, you can find me online most places at Ivimey, Ivimey.
You can find me at Words of Diana, and I'm fine, you guys.
And she's so don't even worry about it.
Don't even ask me if I'm okay. I'm fine.
And you can find both of us most places at From Superheroes. And you can check out everything we create over at our website, fromsuperheroes.com. And we'll talk to y'all next week.
Bye. I'm fine.